What is up, fellow benchwarmers? Welcome to Week 6 Judgment Day, and this is your daily fantasy quickie. Hey guys, it's Week 6 Judgment Day. I'm not sure how you guys, what went on in your leagues. But yeah, with Komish as well. Komish, how was your leagues this week?
Not good. Half of my leagues I won big. Half of my leagues I lost big. So I had bad losses this week. 2-6, 2-7. In the 2-7 league, I had Jokic there. So I didn't have him this week. So that's bad. Yeah, and then the 2-6 league was our unboxed league. I was lucky to even get to 2-6. I was in danger of being 0-9 there. I don't know what happened to my team. They're underperforming right now. And my opponent had Gobert, Capella, Westbrook, who's one of our feel-good players. So they had a pretty good week also. That happens. Just have to bounce back.
Sometimes it's the matchups as well.
Yes, that's true.
I also had a 2-7 loss that was nearly a 0-9 that had the potential to be 0-9. Thankfully, Anthony Davis played. That's why I was able to salvage a 2-7 loss instead of a 0-9 or a 1-8 beating in the All-Star League of the Fantasy Benchwarmers. So lots of things that went on today. Just some quick news. We saw the Memphis Grizzlies rotation without Ja Morant. And as expected, Tyus Jones started. DeAnthony Melton came off the bench still. Your thoughts on those?
As expected, I really wasn't. Remember in our live quickie, there was a question whether Tyus Jones is a 12-team ad, and Max said yes. I wasn't, as I said, I'm not that sure about 12-team. I'm more of a 14-team league ad for Tyus Jones because like today, 6 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists. That's okay, but those are low-end numbers. Those are numbers that are not even as good as TJ McConnell's numbers. And TJ McConnell in 12-team leagues, he has been dropped in some leagues. He's a borderline hold. So given that Tyus Jones is not as consistent as McConnell and doesn't have the track record as McConnell, not the 12-team ad.
Yeah, and at the same time, Tyus Jones is not really a high ceiling type of player fantasy wise.
Yes. Actually, what is interesting here is this happened, as we said, last season, right?
Yeah.
This happened last season when Ja Morant got hurt. Tyus was the ad early on, but if you remember what happened last season, he was just so. He wasn't that big, big. He didn't have a big production. So
he's not known to have big
I like
production.
Melton more. Yes. The assists and steals will be good. The assists will be there. That's consistent. The assists will be there. The steals, if he can be consistent there, he'll be solid already for me. As long as he gets the steals also. He's a good steals player. So if he's consistent there, don't expect anything else. Don't expect anything else in the other categories. I like Melton more. He played 23 minutes today, but it was a total blowout today. So I think Melton is back. He's back as an ad. He's back as a priority ad right now, the Anthony Melton. But the biggest beneficiary is Dillon Brooks. He will basically be running away with the usage that Ja will leave behind. No matter, he doesn't care about your Tyus Jones or the Anthony Meltons.
Yeah.
He's just gonna say, just give the ball to me. I'm gonna take charge.
And he's playing so far. He's playing really well. I mean, not the the field goal are not as bad.
Yes.
So I think that's already a good. I think that's for Dylan Brooks owners. That's already a sigh of relief that even with the usage, the field goals are not as bad so
Yes.
far. Okay, we are back. Yeah, aside from moving on from the Grizzlies, we have John Wall news. Well, apparently it wasn't really news. Yesterday's news wasn't really a news at all because John Wall, at this point, we don't see him playing anytime soon.
According to the news, Houston said, "Okay, you want to play? We'll let you play, but you'll be a bench player." As we said, we kind of predicted that. And John Wall said, "Okay, no thanks. I don't like to be a bench guy." And if he said he wants to be a starter, whether in Houston or anywhere else. So if that is the criteria that he wants, then he's not gonna play this season. Because I don't really see a chance of him getting bought out unless he says, "Okay, I'll give back 40 million to you guys, buy me out." Then that will happen. But even so, even if that happens, which team will he start for? I don't know. Some teams will sign him, but as a starter, I'm not too sure he'll find the team that will make him a starter.
I think that 40 million alone, I don't think he will agree to a buyout there. That's a lot of money for a player like John Wall. I mean, this is post-prime John Wall. This is not really the John Wall that signed that.
Okay, let's put it 20 million. How much do you want to play basketball, Jeremy Tan? Will you give back $20 million if you know you're gonna get
probably not
60 million? But you'll get 60 million anyways, so you just give back 20 million to play. To play basketball.
I don't know.
I won't. I won't.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's a big amount of money. I think right now John Wall will just try to finish maybe next year he can be traded next year because he'll be at the last year of his contract. So maybe
he did give 3 teams he wants to sign with if a buyout happens. So maybe he's thinking about it. He said Miami, he said Milwaukee, he said Clippers, according to a report. And I posted that in our group, in our page, and I said that if it's the Clippers, there's a chance he could start with the Clippers. That is the only place I think if John Wall lands, I would go and rush and add him if he lands with the Clippers, because he's gonna be against Reggie Jackson, Eric Bledsoe. He can beat those guys, and the Clippers want to contend. So the Clippers would be the best landing spot for him. There.
All right. So moving on from John Wall, another veteran player who might make a comeback or has signed a deal is Demarcus Cousins, who has signed with the Bucks.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have been asking if it means that Brook Lopez is still far from coming back because of this news. We don't know. Well, I don't have any added news with Brook Lopez. Is this signing? But I said I don't think this signing means he's far off. Remember the lineup of Milwaukee? It's Bobby Portis, Giannis, and Lopez. They don't have any other bigs. You can't finish one whole season doing that. And if you put Giannis at the center position for a long period of time, his body might break down for the play. When the playoff comes.
Yeah.
So it's a signing that whether Lopez is injured or not, they had to make. They had to have a center. They have to have one more center. They lost PJ Tucker. They didn't add anybody really that's big, that can guard big men. So that, I think, is what Cousins is for. I don't think it has anything to do with Lopez. It's just my opinion.
Do you think Cousins will be fantasy relevant?
Maybe per leagues. I think as a streamer sometimes, maybe, while Lopez is still out, maybe as a streamer when Lopez is still out. But if everybody's healthy, I don't think so. If everybody's healthy, not.
All right. So yeah, for deeper leagues, you can add or maybe see what he does because he hasn't really been any.
See first.
He hasn't been fantasy relevant for a few years now. So I don't see him. I don't see that changing anytime soon.
20 team. I'll add him now. I'll add him
18,
now. Maybe
18.
20 team leagues. Yeah, maybe even 18. Look at your waiver wire. Whoever is there. He can be good for some spot starts. Maybe 6 points, maybe 7 rebounds, 5 rebounds. I mean, in 18 or 20 team leagues, you take any point, any rebound you can get. Right? That's very deep already. That's a very deep league.
All right. And lastly, injury report. Bogdan Bogdanovic would be out a week or two. I think couple of weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks is 2 weeks is a timeline, and they will reevaluate after that.
So
I think, as I said yesterday, it could be longer.
Yeah, and Kevin Huerter, as we said yesterday, is the ad for that injury. In case he hasn't been rostered yet.
Yes.
All right.
And Gallinari.
Yep. And Gallinari. Yeah. You're right. All right. So let's talk about some more players. LeBron James, just to segue as well, played well today. He had 33, I think. But seemingly not yet right. The body's not yet right.
I'm not sure if he wasn't feeling well the whole game, or it was just the fourth quarter. It was just in the fourth quarter in a couple of plays where he was grimacing and holding onto his abdomen. I think he was hit. They replayed the game. They replayed that play where he got hit, and then he was already holding his abdomen. So that's the only reason I put him in the worry. Just something so you guys can be prepared in case he pops up in injury reports all of a sudden, and then he misses one game again, rest here, rest there. So just be prepared for that. Just be prepared. But he's playing very well. He's playing very well. So that's good. It's like Lillard, right? I mean, Lillard was like that too, with the abdomen thing, and then he missed a couple of games, but he's playing better. So owners will take that. It's just good to know that there's still that injury, that he's dealing with.
Yeah. More concerning though has been Domantas Sabonis. I've seen a lot of Domantas Sabonis. One manager in one of our leagues said in our group chats that he feels like Domantas is not really second round value player this year, and he doesn't think he will be. What are your thoughts on Sabonis?
Second round, okay, top 24. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not a given. We've talked about him a couple of times, and I feel like the system of Carlisle is different, just like Randall with this year. And I saw an article about Randall, and that Tibbs was really trying to make him less the offense less centered on him. So we were right. They really changed the system, try to get others involved. And Sabonis, I feel the same, because he's just not taking too many shots. The usage is not there. So yeah, maybe second round is not a given this year. I may agree with that.
And the reason why I mentioned that is because he's been traded for some players that many felt would be a lopsided trade. He has been attempted to be traded in a few leagues, and some felt it was quite well, not really some, but it's been really close. Like it's kind of hard to look into Sabonis's value.
What's an example?
The Sabonis and SGA for McCollum and Jeremy Grant. I mean, some managers feel that that's where the comments came out. Wherein some felt it was a little too much the Sabonis side is winning a little too, is way has a lot of advantages, but some also feel, and this is like split down the middle. It's not like, a lot, everyone felt it was a lopsided deal. It was really close. Um, and some managers felt that, yeah, Sabonis might not be a second round anymore this year. Plus the danger of Shea missing out the uh, maybe a shutdown candidate. Of course, Jeremy Grant could be a shutdown candidate, but one manager felt that Jeremy Grant is quite underrated. He said that he feels like he is kind of underrated in the sense that he's pretty much a star player in a bad team.
I don't I don't I don't necessarily agree with that. He's in real life he's not a star player. In fantasy, he has good games. He has good games, but overall he's not a top 50 guy. So I don't consider him a star player in fantasy. No matter what you say about SGA and Sabonis, they will be top 50 this year per game at least. So that's just my opinion. I think the Sabonis side wins there, but I guess CJ McCollum has also been good this year. So you could say, that's CJ and SGA are basically the same. Sabonis and Jeremy Grant are not far off in rankings right now. So
actually, McCollum and Sabonis are really not too far off in terms of rankings, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not too far off.
If you look at rankings, I guess Jeremy Grant is still ahead of SGA at this point still.
Yes.
So
yeah, I think that can pass, but I like the Sabonis side more.
Yeah,
just an update.
Everyone really liked the Sabonis side. It's just that many felt that, because it was split in half. Like, many felt that Sabonis side, it was a lopsided deal, that it should be vetoed. Many felt that it wasn't a lopsided deal, that it should be vetoed. I mean,
depends on, I guess, not only on what you think of Sabonis, but what you think of Jeremy Grant, because Jeremy Grant is a very polarizing player also.
And
some people
SGA, I guess.
Yeah, SGA too. So it's a very tough deal to judge, to really see what's happening because of these players, of the players involved. I guess I just wanted to mention about what Max did in our league. He traded Zion, and he was able to trade him. I said I salute him. He was able to trade him for Chris Middleton, and I said,
how did he trade him for Chris Middleton?
Remember, it's a Roto league. He added Cedi Osman. He said Cedi Osman has been great the past 2 weeks. So he used Cedi Osman as a +1, which I'm just sharing this so that you guys have an idea of how to frame deals with guys who are hot, like Osman, like maybe if ever, some other hot players that are like Carmelo before when he was still hot, what you could do with these players. And that's what he did. He used Osman, and then he looked for a manager who was desperate for a big man who needed field goal help because he was down. And then that's it. Chris Middleton is buy low. We know that. We've talked about Chris Middleton. We've told you about him as a buy low.
Yeah.
So still, I mean, this might not work in your leagues. I know.
Plus, it's a Roto league. It's a Roto league.
Yes, it's a Roto league. And I don't know who the other manager is, but whatever. He was able to do it. So good job to him.
And in a Roto league, the way trades are made are quite different as well.
Yes.
Not really as controversial in the sense that, seldom are the lopsided deals, because it's really all needs-based deals. A lot of them are needs-based deals, meaning players trade because they need certain categories, not really because, they want to shake things up or whatever, or their build, right? So yeah, good for him. Good for him for being able to trade Zion. Let's move on. Draymond Green, another center who has practically similar skill set to Sabonis, right? Except for the defense.
Yeah, probably. There's a little similarity there.
Yeah, there are some similarities, except for the defensive side. I think Draymond is, way higher in the defensive stats than Sabonis.
And Sabonis is better offensive player. right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's a better shooter, better scorer. But Draymond, everybody before the draft was saying last year he was top 30, top 40 at the end of the season, and I was really not buying it. And for me, he was drafted too high in my opinion. And right now, he's outside the top 100. And Golden State is rolling and playing very well. So it's not as if the team is struggling. They're playing well, but it's just that Draymond doesn't score, uh, doesn't shoot well free throw wise, doesn't shoot 3 pointers. And we talk about defensive stats. If you look at his defensive stats and look at Sabonis' defensive stats, they're not far off.
Mm-hmm.
Draymond is 1.3, I think 1.4 steals and zero point 0.9 blocks only.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he's not far off from Sabonis. So he's just a name value right now.
Yeah, and plus Draymond has, in terms of the defensive stats, he hasn't really had a string of great defensive games.
Yes, unlike before.
The peak Draymond or the Golden State 2015, 2016 Golden State maybe. That was the best Draymond we've seen. And he's fizzled somehow. He started quite well this year. Fizzled somehow. And like you said, Golden State is rolling, and there's really no need to. I don't see things changing anytime soon with how Draymond is playing or accumulating stats.
Maybe because they're rolling, they're blowing out teams, that has affected him also. And they have a deep team this year. They have Otto Porter, they have Jalika, they have so many great, bench players that can limit the minutes of Draymond. The value of Draymond this year has been assists, 7.8 assists. That's been the only one that's really for me stood out as a center. That's good. The rest are really bad. The field goal is good though this year, 50-something%. And this is the deal. The field goal is good this year. He's shooting 55% or something. That's not his usual field goal numbers.
Yeah.
So that could even go down, and it could even be worse soon for Draymond. So just saying.
I also seen some Draymond deals that have been done today or even yesterday. So I think these players, Sabonis, Draymond, LeBron. There was a LeBron trade that was passed just a while ago. These trades are interesting, or these players are interesting in the sense that people are now trying to move them around and see where they fit best in some of the fantasy teams. Miles Turner. Well, Miles Turner has been in and out of the worry list. I don't think there's anything new to that. I'm not surprised about Miles Turner because I know he's had good stretch and he will have bad stretch.
Yeah. For me, it's just one thing. If you own Miles Turner, you should win blocks every year, every week. You should make sure you win blocks every week, because if you own Miles Turner and then you win sometimes, you lose sometimes, it's a waste of his only really elite stat set. Mm-hmm. So if you're not winning blocks 100%, you're winning 70-60%, trade him because you're not maximizing his value. That's just my view on that. Certain kinds of team can own Miles Turner and really get the top 30 value that he is giving because of the blocks. And those are the teams that are really elite in blocks and because of Miles Turner. But if you're not elite and it's only Miles who's blocking for you, trade him.
So Miles Turner wraps up the worry list. Buy players, there aren't much. Eric Bledsoe back in our buy players.
Yeah, I picked him.
So he's been in and out of there. Today he had a not so bad game. Quite a good game. Let's see if he can push.
Yes.
Although I think one of our worry players that we didn't talk about today was Reggie Jackson. Do you think that these two players have a relationship in terms of whoever plays well, the other guy doesn't play as well?
There have been games like that, but there have been games where they played well together. So I don't think there's any relation to that because Reggie Jackson is a pure scorer. I mentioned it. I don't think that it's because Bledsoe scored 30 points. That's why Reggie Jackson just didn't score a lot. This is not like Lillard or McCollum, because
Mhm.
both of them are pretty similar. I mean, right?
Yeah.
This is different. Reggie Jackson just, that's all he does. He doesn't give assists. He doesn't give steals. That's there. I mean, he does from Eric Bledsoe is the rebounds, the steals, those things. And
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe it's a coincidence.
Yeah. So
There.
yeah, Eric Bledsoe and then Brandon Clark and Killian Hayes for deeper leagues. Brandon Clark, we talked about him before, and we also mentioned that he can be a speculative ad for deeper leagues. Um, Killian Hayes, though, is someone who is
Something new.
well new in the sense that we are recommending a buy for Killian Hayes because he hasn't really been good at any point in his career so far.
Yeah. Just to clear it out, I'm not recommending a buy in 12 or 14 team leagues. I'm recommending in deeper, way deeper, like 16 team leagues. 16. He just got back from a sprained thumb, and before that, he's been okay, sort of okay. He's been playing better. Like Tyus Jones, if you are okay with adding Tyus Jones, I think Killian Hayes can be similar, right? I
Yeah.
mean, assistant steals.
Yeah.
That's what he does. So if you want Tyus Jones, then I think Killian Hayes will be almost the same. I think the
Well,
points will
yeah.
not be there. The
The points will not
shooting
be
will not
there.
be there.
The shooting will
Not
not.
yet.
The shooting of Killian Hayes is probably worse than Tyus Jones, but yeah.
Yes. That's why
And the
he's a 60.
turnovers as well. Killian
Yes.
Hayes would probably have a lot more turnovers than Tyus Jones. So yeah, but yeah, if you need assists and steals, you can get
Yeah.
Killian Hayes. Not a lot of managers want Killian Hayes. So yeah.
Me too. I'm not a fan. You know that. You know that I'm not a fan.
Me
But
too.
I like him to succeed. I just want him to succeed, but I'm not a fan, and I can see that he is a ways away. But he's been playing well. It's our job to at least tell you guys that he's playing better. He's a young player, he's a sophomore. So if a sophomore plays better, we have to take notice, and let's see if he continues to do better in the next games.
Yeah. Just not a fantasy friendly skill set
Yes.
of Killian Hayes.
Yes.
But yeah, it can be better. Just quickly on our feel good players, because the internet is really sucky today. Drew Holiday, finally a good game.
I'm still winning our bet, by the way. Gary Trent is number 19 and Drew is, I think, 80 or 90. So I'm still winning as of now. As of now.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah,
Gary
finally.
Trent did play today.
So at least his
He'll
ranking
drop
will
a
be
bit.
safe.
He'll drop a bit.
No, we're talking about per game. We're not talking about totals. If you're talking about totals, you're not gonna win because Drew already missed so many games.
No.
Right?
But having said that though, at least Drew played well today. So at least that his
Yeah.
rankings could move up a bit. Yeah, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll
Agree.
see. We talked about Jeremy Grant. He played well today again. He played well today against the Lakers.
He
And yeah,
loves the Lakers.
he's had some good games against the Lakers. He's had some good games here and there. Not as surprising, I guess, as last year. I think last year everyone was just surprised. But this year,
Yes, that's true.
you kind of got what you expected so far.
I think what you're talking about, the relationship between Reggie Jackson and Eric Bledsoe, I think it's more in with Jeremy Grant than Cade Cunningham.
Mm-hmm.
If Cade is aggressive, if Cade looks for his own shot, Jeremy kind of the value of Jeremy lowers because he doesn't take as many shots. But like today, you could see Jeremy was so aggressive, all from start to finish, and Cade was just the background,
Yeah.
taking spot up shots. So I think more of the two of these guys. You have to see who's hot right now. It's Grant, but we don't know. Maybe the next game it's gonna be Cade, right? So there.
Yeah, just an initial observation there. I mean, we don't really, we're not saying that there is a correlation, but it's something to observe and see how they play together in terms of their fantasy contributions. What would their fantasy contributions be when one plays well? And so far it looks like they're not on the same, they're not directly related or proportional in terms of their fantasy contributions. So yeah, something to observe. Tomorrow is the start of week 7.
Mm-hmm.
And good luck. What anything to watch out for schedule wise?
This week we have less games. This week we have less games, only 40 something games. So I guess stream aggressively because there's not a lot of total games. But there's no 5-game teams. The best team this week is Portland.
Mm-hmm.
So Nasir Little, they have a back-to-back right away, and they have good streaming schedule.
And Norm
Portland, the
Powell is
Lakers,
out.
these teams are, and Norm Powell is out. So Nasir is a good short-term this week play maybe. I think he might start. So maybe Anthony Simons is another player you can look at as a streamer. So there, those guys.
All right. That wraps up this week 6 Judgment Day quickie. And as always, we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Bye.